Hey screen printers, it's Ryan from Ryonet, and today I'm going to show you how to set up the new Riley Hopkins Jr. 4x1 and 1x1 tabletop presses. Let's start with the 4x1. Comes in 2 boxes, so let's open up these boxes and see what's inside. Alright, with the boxes unpacked, we have this beautiful black and green silver press. It's the Riley Hopkins Jr. 4x1 press. It's comes standard without micro registration, so everything that we have here, let's come check it out. Starting from the ground up, first we have our feet. There's 2 of these. We'll install those first off the bat. Then we have the press itself. This comes with the head already installed, which is great because you can reference how it works. Also, the platens attached to that. Then we have our print head assemblies right here, the other 3 that you'll need to install, and then your hardware pack. You have your springs, your 9/16 bolts, and then 1 complementary 9/16 wrench. To install this, you're going to need another 9/16 wrench or an adjustable wrench and a Phillips screwdriver, preferably an electric screw gun. The next step is to put our feet on and actually secure the press to the table. Today we're actually going to be securing it to one of our press cards. Makes a great, very sturdy table to put your press on, as well as holds 20 screens underneath it. So great option for you there. Check that out on our website. So to do that, we're going to take the press, take the feet. There's 2 feet. This is the outside, this is the inside. Your front foot is going to have the logo on it. So we'll lift this press up. It might be a little easier because this guy is a little heavy for you to actually have somebody help you with that. But if you don't, you can kind of just arrange it like so. And then before we screw it down, we're actually going to just bolt these on. So we'll use the hardware, align the bolts, and then bolt them on right there and there using those 9/16 wrenches. When you're inserting a bolt, ensure to put a washer on the top and the bottom, and then make sure that you snug the bottom nut all the way taut. Also make sure to snug everything up nice and tight. Now it's time to screw the press down to the table, so any table or wood bench will work. Once again, the press cart works great. This is a good 3 to 4 inches, doesn't have to be exact, and then we're just going to use the screw that you got with the press to screw in there. If it's not already tapped, an electric screwdriver or drill works a lot better. Now it's time to install the color arms. First we take the color arm, then we take our stop bolt and our hinge point hardware. We're going to put the hinge point hardware in first, then the springs, and then the stop bolt hardware. I'm going to do this from the gate position, which helps hold my arm up a little bit. So first you have to align the arm with the hinge point and the knob. Then you're going to slide in your bolts, put on the nuts, and be careful when you're tightening this not to get too tight. You do want to get snug, but don't over tighten it. Now it's time to install the springs, so we're going to lift the arm up to do that. We're going to come from the underneath of the arm with the spring, hooking it from the underneath part first, and then slightly bring that down, get inside the pedestal there, give it some pressure, make sure everything's hooked on tight, your protection is in place, and then bring them down to the stop position. Now, very important before you do anything next, make sure everything's nestled correctly there. Then we're going to put our stop bolt hardware in. So once again, 9/16 wrench to do that. Simply take the bolt apart, put your center bumper bolt in the middle, align it, lock it, and then once again, do not over tighten this. Just tighten it snug, but not over tightened. Now we lift the arm up, make sure everything's working great. It is, and repeat 2 more times. All right, and we're about done. This junior press goes together very easily. Our last step is to essentially put the platen on and then do our set, our off contact, and tilt adjustment, which is essentially the only adjustment that you're going to continually make on this press. This press does have optional micro registration that you can upgrade to either when you buy the press or at a future date. To set off contact and tilt, let's grab an off contact plate and a screen. When you're setting and aligning your platen, you want to make sure that your screen head does not come down and touch your platen. Second, we have our off contact plate. This allows us to evenly set off contact throughout the press. You want your plate to be the thickness of your off contact. So right here we have about an 1/8 inch off contact. You have a 16th inch plate, even a 4th inch plate. This is a rigid surface, can be metal. This is MDF melamine. So we'll bring over our print head now. Just like all of our other Hopkins presses and the silver press, your Riley Hopkins Jr. has 2 off-contact adjustments located directly on the back of the screen clamp. It also has a tilt adjustment, which is located directly behind that. So to loosen your tilt, you simply loosen the top bolt right here. It's opposite. This is a holding spot, so you only need one wrench for this operation. And to loosen off contact, you're going back here. What our goal is in setting off contact and tilt is to loosen these up and then make sure our print head is nestled all the way into the gate. This is your registration gate. These right here are your registration bolts. We do need to make sure that these bolts are snug tight over the course of time, and then they're sunk in with a tightening nut right there. So they're going to come snug tight from the factory, but if you break them or if they loosen up over time, you have the ability to adjust those in. Once again, we want to make sure that this is pressed all the way down, and then we want to level everything else out. So we're going to level our tilt out. Make sure everything's pressed down. Level the off contact, level the tilt, level the screen. So press everything down. Because we have that off contact plate, it should properly set our off contact accordingly. Next, we're going to go ahead and tighten the top tilt bolt. We typically do not touch the bottom tilt bolt. So only tightening the top tilt bolt. We're going to tighten that all the way down, nice and snug there. Being careful, of course, not to strip out the bolts. Then we're going to tighten down our off contact adjustments. Once again, you do not want to strip these. Pretty simple to do. Now let's come over here and check for off contact. As you can see, we have very good, consistent off contact throughout. As you can see, we have very good, consistent off contact throughout. And we've done a good job of setting this up. So we're going to go around and do that for every single print station. After this is done one time, we pretty much don't have to adjust it unless we have thicker items like sweatshirts. We've already shown you how to do on the 4x1 and then install the print head. So to do that, you're going to take the off contact nuts off. Then you're going to take the washers off. Then we're going to simply put that into the off contact right there, the slots. Then we're going to simply hand tighten these down until we actually have to go to set off contact. So ensure to put the washer on first and then just literally hand tighten the 9/16 down. And we're ready to go. Once our adjustments are set, we're pretty much done setting up the 4x1 Junior. Very easy to print with, very easy to set up. If you see, this guy spins so nicely, you're going to print very, very easily. Now, as far as maintenance goes in the future, there are a few things that we want to point out. First of all, your registration bolts. To ensure that your press always stays in positive registration, you want to make sure these are snug down. We already kind of pointed that out. If they break, you always want to have a couple handy. These are 9/16 heavy-duty registration bolts. Also, every once in a while, every few years or so, you may need to add some axle grease to the center bearing right here. Probably not going to be too prevalent unless you're really beating this press up and really in a dirty environment. And speaking of dirt, keep your press nice and clean. Wipe it down with some nice eco-friendly press wipe, and it will last a lot longer and look a lot nicer.